Hey, welcome to your Capricorn horoscopes for the week of Thanksgiving. And of course, all the Capricorns are right in the middle of it, probably doing all the work this week. And that's, of course, Thanksgiving if you're in the United States. If you're not in the United States, then, well, you're probably doing all the work anyways, right? Whether there's a holiday or not is irrelevant. These are the horoscopes for the week of the 19th through the 25th of October. We continue to have Pluto in Capricorn, of course, 28 degrees. Pardon me. Good news is that Pluto is actually in quite a few different, a couple of different grand sextiles, actually, as Pluto is in a grand sextile with Neptune, the Sun, and Mars, also in a grand sextile with Neptune and Uranus. So we're looking at long-term goals here. We're looking at self, we're looking at intuition, we're looking at the mind and how the mind works. And Pluto is, of course, bringing all of these things together in your secret closet, which is kind of weird, I know. But when you have challenges come up around those types of things, when they trigger things that happened in the past, it can really get to a place where you're sort of falling in a hole every single time emotionally. Now, Capricorns, out of all the signs on the zodiac, definitely have an easier time with this, mainly because it may not be internally easy, but to everybody else's view, it looks like it was really easy for you. Like you just stepped right over that mess. No, I don't want to deal with that. Step over it and keep on going. I personally know that it's not easy and it's probably inner turmoil every single time. But I feel like in terms of your long-term goals and with the Sun and Mars really being the forerunners of these long-term goals here, there's a lot of fiery energy going in that direction, which means there's a lot of fiery energy going into releasing those triggers as well, and releasing them in a way so that they're no longer controlling what you're doing anymore. Believe it or not, even Capricorns get emotional from time to time. And that emotion and how they feel about certain things really does drive the decisions that they make. I have known several different Capricorns that have been in this situation, even though most of the time it looks like they're above the situation. The truth is, the more emotional it is, the more likely that is to happen. This week, I feel like what's really important here in terms of how all these planets are lining up favorably for you is to trust in your gut instinct, to trust in your intuition, and to not necessarily do what you've always done, which is take complete control and take charge of everything because nobody is going to get it done as well as you. Honestly, if you want them to learn how to do it as well as you do, you're gonna have to let them do it. And sometimes it's not just about you're the only one that knows how to do it. Sometimes it's about you being open to seeing how other people do things. It may be different, it may not be the way that you would normally do things, but at the same time, it's always good to be open to new perspectives. If you're not open to new perspectives, it's really, really difficult to evolve and change, if that makes sense. We do have a bit of a challenge at the end of the month on Friday, luckily day after Thanksgiving, so it doesn't really affect it as much as the moon moves into a square with Pluto. The moon is interesting because it's focused on the past. So this really does feel like one of those things, past pains that sort of come up for whatever reason. Either it's triggered by someone saying something, you come across an old photo and remember, it's the holidays. Those are the times that we tend to think about the people that are no longer with us the most. And we look back on holidays of the past and Thanksgivings of the past and how very different things were then to now. And it can be really difficult to pull yourself out of that. At the same time, though, sometimes it's necessary to look back on those times, not to wallow in what you don't have anymore, but to look at what you've done and try and incorporate some of that into what you're doing now. What are holidays but traditions? Every Thanksgiving that I ever went to was the same Thanksgiving every single time. We always ate the same food. It's part of our family tradition. And sometimes things evolve and change so much over time that it becomes a completely different thing altogether. So don't be afraid to add a little something from the past back into what you're doing now, because you're reintroducing that thing that you loved in the past to new people, to new family around you that maybe weren't there when you were there, if that makes sense. The other thing is, I really feel that the nostalgia that comes up around the holidays, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It can be if you spend too much time focused on what you don't have and not enough time focused on what you do have in front of you, if that makes sense. So it's not a bad thing. Give yourself the permission to go ahead and live there for a few minutes. Honestly, I think the world and Capricorns alike, really. I think the world has a very skewed view on remembering those who are no longer with us. I feel that they deserve that time. I feel that they deserve that space of us taking the time to remember them. And around the holidays, that seems to happen the most because they were so much a part of that. And it's not just about thinking of them. In many ways, it's about taking the time to honor them in some way. My family does gumbo. We've always done gumbo for Thanksgiving. It's my husband's family, actually. His grandmother was from Louisiana. She always made gumbo. It was part of our tradition, along with the rest of what normally people would eat for Thanksgiving dinner. We just do the gumbo now because it's really a lot and I can't even think about how we used to do gumbo and Thanksgiving dinner, but we split those two things to be on 2 different days so that we still have that connection to her. And every year that we make that pot of soup together as a family, we're honoring her, we're talking about her, we're reminiscing about her, and yes, we're shedding tears that she's no longer with us too. That's our way of expressing that even though she's no longer there, we still have that same amount of love and that's not going away. And from a medium's standpoint, that is really important for her, as much as it is important for us as well. And not just in remembering her, but that time that we spend together supporting each other and remembering her. Death is a part of life, and it is never not going to be a part of life. As we get older, we lose people. So honoring those people throughout the holiday, I'm all for, honestly. And if you feel the need to do that, then by all means, you should. Absolutely. Because chances are no one's going to do it. You might as well. Someone's going to have to do it, right? Even if that person is somebody that the rest of your family doesn't know, you're teaching the rest of your family that it's important to honor people that were important to you when they were living. So that's what I have for you guys this week. If you love your horoscopes, do consider sending a tip or donation to my coffee link in the description at the bottom of the video. I would really appreciate that. I'm Melissa Bruce, Heavy Metal Psychic. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys next week. In the meantime, you guys make it a great week. Enjoy your holiday. Enjoy your time with those that are no longer with you. But enjoy your time with those that are, which is also very important as well. I'll see you guys next week. Make it a great week, you guys.